Obstinance Through Horror in Swords of Undeath by Master Ahaz. In some myths, the devil had a mother. That mother was Tumtum, Tiamat, or Tan, as the Bible has her. And she is the naming entity of the pre-Jewish Palestinian people, Palestinium in Aramaic. The earlier references spoke of the place as Pla Asut, the great house of the devil, or Persa, government of Satan. In the ancient Egyptian. After that, we have it break down into order separators to bear a burden in the historical period of the Israelites. Before anything history will call Judaism, the Greeks called the place on the east of the Mediterranean Plastina, which became the Roman name following the suppression of the Maured Bar Kokhba revolt and genocide. Such an entity continues, and so does the victimizing and sacrificing. Beyond the confines of mere civilizational signs, discipline and punishing will be seen to a degree that it currently is not, but it will be for the unseen. The Ottomanic way focuses on the backwards and the example of three creatures: the wild cat, the snake, and the scavengers. In recent years, vultures have been increasing their numbers on the east coast of America and in the Middle East. The Rapam of the Genesis 14:5 and 15:18 to 21 very well could have been such resourceful individuals that were the noble people of Deuteronomy 2:11 to 20. Isaiah 14, verses 9 to 11, and 26, verses 13 to 15, makes the communication, or working with the dead, element clear. We could say that Joshua 12:4, 13:12, 15:8, 17:15, and 18:16, 2 Samuel 5, verses 18 to 22 and 23:13, and 1 Chronicles 11:15, 14:9, and 24 might imply that such energy, legacy, and memory work with the shades is what they were known for. After all, they did claim immortal and solar power with the dead, and broke the boundaries for what may be called dark gods. With the technology and cosmological alignments in place, those who ignite their black flame are now said to be the vehicles for 333 apiece. Step aside from being a victim of illusion and delusion to bring that sense of death that brings out autonomy. The effort to bring political conformity has led to spiritual groups being infiltrated by law enforcement, or even founded by such. If it can happen to mainstream faiths, It can definitely happen to Satanists. Part of using one fire as an obscure form of the reference to the left-hand path, or someone say that the vampiric drawing in would make it right-hand path, is to take it beyond the fetish and fantasy of mere human endeavors. Aside from the gematria of Chur, Wun, Zun, and the associated abysmal myths, 333 is a number for the restructuring in something gigantic and monstrous for beings that are more alien to humanity than the popular conceptions and hostile to your return to mere humanity. We are in a prison planet, and that will be understood when things are taken beyond ritual and study. The 13th satanic bloodline is open to those transformed beyond energy and substance work in their pacts. They will amorally and immorally feed beyond the mundane dimensions and work out their eternal destiny. The traces of their influence is found in all cultures. It can often seem gray in how it uses the spectrum of things beyond its own ends, but they transform beyond the mundane terms of it all. It can be through systems of initiation, but true versions will not be to restrict them to acceptance by church and state. Satanism finds itself in the extremes and development that is restricted by even conservative and liberal forms of Satanism. Ritual is an art of giving yourself over to the unseen. It extends to a cured and hardened life that impresses the spiritual dimensions. As Al-Quran, Surah 13, Ayat 10 and 11 indicates, are secret and open, are known by their circumstances, and we need to evoke a change in ourselves for the causal to change our circumstances. How can we better program our autonomy? Operating as different parts breaks our sense of limits in our discipline. We are not opposed to what needs to be done, but it isn't about doing what we will be caught for, nor is it about making a name for ourselves. There is a greater force in the hierarchy of what the mundane will consider insane. We can stand on the other side of what hurts those who try to escape. If we darken the regard of mere self-interest or external approval, then the Blood Father takes part in them being Noctulian. Such individuals, and those becoming such, will find themselves having experiences beyond bodily perception. Astral projection can become a deliberate practice by scrying at dark mirrors and crystals. This, and placing these items as a presence for meditating and dreaming, is the real origin of the flight of witches' tales. Some of this involved particular places, as repeated practice can leave permanent effects for others to use. Beings will interact with those they can push towards being different. If one goes with or becomes active in such experiences rather than merely resisting it, the horrors will be processed, leaving you dead to the mundane. What you used to be will have a new life. Amorality is a greater evil than immorality because it disregards what is considered legally, civilly, or spiritually valid by others. The progression from mortality to immortality can take time and breaks through cultural confinement. The difficulties in the beginning seem as brief compared with the life of the fleshly incarnation of adeptship. Teal Swan, Jim Jones, Heaven's Gate, and others, who got others to imagine their own destruction. Set forth a subject of a model. We too can break past attachments and stages to operate the in-between. Satanic ritual abuse was the technology of using experiences and the references to activate the suppressed new society. As Acts 7, verses 39 to 41, and Amos chapter 5, verse 25 to 27, mentions the idols and projections for Moloch. But today, the star of Ra'ifan is known by different guys. Perhaps all the 7 central idols of the Yazidi will be part of the program to come. In their prehistoric roots, we can know this as a system of the universal spirit. Angra Ba'en-Eu. Destructive spirit. The Davanam Davo. Chafing needles. Gnog Manog. Stinking body. His agent of counter creation. Akamena. Evil mind. Indar. Stifle. Naon Ha'ithya. Discontent. Sa'urva. Opposition. Ta'urvi. Destruction. Za'uri. Poison. And Asham. Continued practice and work will be needed to refine and continue. Accept your flesh. Are we seduced? Or are we enticing? Satanism is not about historical lineages or responding to changing principles. The left-hand path definition makes it into identifying with the evil known as the fall, and the humans making what is called demonic ascent by what the fire beings turned them into. The right-hand path definition would make it about the distortion of the mundane towards empowerment and the connecting with the hierarchy of the sideways path. Satanism is strife and struggles for itself. It is about working with what has free will too. You will not be able to merely decide what is best for yourself, but you are full of choices. Whatever the trials, it is about not repenting. Satanism is not a culture or a style. Don't just have ideals. Be something other than edgy. Satanism is not about being too much or enough, but more upon whatever terms are available. Satanism is spiritual and beyond temporary terms. Illusion and delusion confine the conception the mundane have of evil. We are not controlled by what they say has to be part of our evil, nor as safe as those who make it out to be a white lodge only faith. Some may have control over us, but that is limited. Experiences go beyond what we think they will be. It is for us to go on beyond any defeat or failure. Al-Quran, Surah 86, ayat 15 and 16 indicates that others plot, but there is also another plan. Sometimes the stress of those who victimize is greater than in their victims. As our tact develops, our commanding presence will bring in others. The maiden becomes the mother, becomes the crone. Roles and stages are transcended as those active in the cycles of dying. We can take control of our response and continuation of our deeds. Have we compromised our humanity? Our attention shifts and ability changes. Have you prepared for the personal and collective end times? There were beings that were secret, but the mundane knowing them by force will not come easy. The astral entities are the demons under Satan, and their age seems to be almost here, with the humans giving permission. And as you may be able to tell, I sometimes will edit in the middle of doing these programs. And I am commenting on things, I'm responding to things, I'm expressing along those lines. I'm generally not quoting, but what I have to say may contain some quotes. And I tend to be just speaking for myself rather than any particular organization or anything like that.